name is Aditya, and we have a very special class today for this great saint Mahatma Neem Karoli Baba. I'm just curious, anybody has heard about Neem Karoli Baba? Anybody here? Okay. So I don't think there is much to talk about his teachings, right? He was a person from Bhakti Marg, right? His presence always taught people. So today I will share my experience that I had with him, and then we'll talk about some of his stories. Today it's a more of a storytelling class, and then in the end we will meditate, because he's a great astral master. It says after he left his body, he's more alive, right? So we will have the privilege today to meditate with his energies. So here, every Sunday we are choosing one great saint. We are trying to meditate upon their teachings, talking about them. And I was given a choice of many saints that I want to talk on. And I see the name Neem Karoli Baba. It resonated with me. So, a little about my story, why I want to talk about Neem Karoli Baba. About like 10 years back, maybe more than 10 years back, I was going through a depression. I used to be in Delhi that time. And I was looking for answers. I was really looking, I really need an answer. What is happening to my life? I need to know the truth. I was very depressed, and those days I used to work in the IT sector. And whenever I used to get my weekend, like Saturday and Sunday, I had this, privilege to go to Shimla, because my grandfather stays in Shimla and he has a house there. So I often, used to club 1 or 2 days anyway and take a long weekend and just run off to the, this beautiful place, just to be there and meditate. So my grandfather, he's a very sweet man, and he would take care of me and he would take me to different places. One of the very beautiful places that I have been to in Shimla was, that really touched me, was this Sankat Mochan temple, right? So I went to Sankat Mochan temple, and I remember, pouring my heart out. I was like crying, I was pouring my heart out. Like, what is happening to my life? I'm so fearful, I'm so scared. You need to help me. And I remember there is a deep peace that came to me during, after I poured out everything. I meditated there, I spent time. And I didn't know much about that place. I felt good. I came back. Many times after that, I remember when I had tough times, I have read Hanuman Chalisa, and it has comforted my heart. And then, that's it. I had forgotten about this experience. And very recently, last month, I was in Brazil conducting a few workshops and lectures. And I also had an opportunity to go into some of my very deep experiences when I was there. So in one of my astral experiences, this name comes, Neem Karoli Baba. He's guiding me. When I'm telling you this, it's an acknowledgement, because we forget this experience when we are in that plane, and it's very hard for us to again remember when we are in the physical plane. So it's important to acknowledge these experiences. So I had a very strong word coming to me: Neem Karoli Baba is guiding you into your enlightenment. And his presence felt very comforting. And then, this happened, I come to Life Foundation and I've been told to give a class and I choose Neem Karoli Baba, and I was doing some research the last week about Neem Karoli Baba. I could not get any of his teachings, but then when I was doing my research, I found this temple in Shimla of Hanumanji is made by Neem Karoli Baba. It has been established there, right? And unknowingly, he had been guiding me all these years. I didn't know that, right? And today I feel I'm very sure, whenever we ask something from our heart, like a help, like a truth that we are really, really looking for, it never goes unanswered, right? So this beautiful person, when we look at him, he looks plumpy, he looks fat, he's not very attractive to look at, wears like a blanket on him all the time lying down, just with a smile on his face. Not attractive. When he was living in his body also, he was always secluded from the public. He never went into public. So what I'm trying to say is, there's no attraction when we look into these kind of saints. I think there are so many saints in India that we are blessed with. And many people, they could not understand him. They thought, what is this, some Baba, some miracles he's doing. But many people, they could get to know him personally because his way of speaking was very personal. He'd never addressed group. He always said, which I can collect these 3 words from what I got from his teaching is: love all, serve all, feed all. That is what he used to do. So anybody comes to him, he will pour his love to him, he'll try to serve him, and he'll try to feed him, whatever he had. So many people were touched by his presence. If you have heard about, I'm sure you have heard about Steve Jobs from Apple. He was his disciple. Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook, a disciple of Neem Karoli Baba. Julia Roberts. And why I'm telling you these names, these people, they never met Baba in person. They came to his ashram, which is near Nainital. It's a place called Kanchi. They have visited the ashram, and many of the places they talk about how Baba has guided and touched them in their growth. So, friends, I have few stories I think I'll be sharing from Baba's life so that you get to understand him more. A little about his background. When he was born in a Brahmin family, and he was a very bright boy, so his father was very proud to give birth to a bright child like him. And he observed that this child is very different from the very young age. He's kind of very detached, not attached to anything, not in the worldly things. So what his father did is, he married him at the age of 11. And immediately after he got married, he ran away. He ran away from the house and he did sadhana. And it said when he did the sadhana, he mastered all 5 elements. All the 5 elements we know as earth, water, air, ether, and what is the 5th one? Fire, yes. So he mastered them, and he was called a miracle Baba because he can twist and turn with anything. So after he ran away, he did sadhana for around another more than 10 years. Then his father came to know that he's living in the village called Neem Karoli. Actually, the right name of the word is Neem Karoli. Later, it got distorted as Neem Karoli, speaking ways. So his father heard that he was there in this village. So he went to the village and he said, "You have to come back home because you have responsibility there. You got married, you have a father." And he listened to his father. He came back home. He took responsibility as a son, as a husband, full responsibility. He bore children also. And again, he had a saint life, which was, he was living two lives at the same time. So there are many stories, where that through which we can understand Baba, because he has never written any book, he has never given any discourse. One of his disciples, now in US, his name is Ram Das. He spreads about Baba, his love, and he wrote a book. I think it's called Miracle of Love. This is the only book that exists, right? And about Ramdas, he was, he's a professor from the Harvard University, and he was in his depression. He lost his mother, and he was looking for answers when he came to India. And many people in the world, when they look for deep answer, they come to India. So he came for a voyage like that, just to discover, right? And then he met one person who was his friend, who was a yogi that time, and he mentioned about Neem Karoli Baba to Ramdas. He said, "Why don't you come with me and visit this saint?" And he said, "No, I don't think I'm very interested in that, because somehow Baba didn't appeal him." But anyway, he went with him to Baba. So he was very, very, very skeptical when he was meeting Baba. I'm talking about Ramdas. When Baba met him, the first thing he said is about his lost mother. Not only he spoke about his lost mother, but he spoke about the entire background of Ramdas. And that did not fit in, this very skeptical mind of Ramdas. Something shifted. How this person knows my entire history? How this person knows the pain in my heart, why I'm traveling, what I'm looking for? And basically, Ramdas was looking for somebody, who could read his consciousness and show him a way. Right? And he couldn't help himself but, fall in his feet and become his disciple. So there are many experiences Ramdas has gone through. One of the another experience was with, which is very interesting, is with LSD. Ramdas used to take LSD. If you know LSD, it's a psychedelic drug. You can take the drug and you are off into another world of perception where you can go for like 8 to 10 hours, right? I think now it's banned. So those days, it was common in US, people were taking psychedelics to explore their inner self, understand themselves, or many used to take them as drugs also. So Ramdas was in the affluence of LSD, he was taking that, and in one of the conversation he told Neem Karoli Baba about LSD. So Baba said, "Okay, let me try it." And Ramdas joked, "How many do you want to try? 2? 4? Because like for one person, one is enough. You will be shot out." And then from the pocket, he took one bunch of LSD, and Baba just grabbed the entire bunch in his hand and swallowed it all. Ramdas got very scared. He said, one is enough for a person, and he has taken this entire box of LSD pills. So he was just sitting beside Baba because he was scared that he will go into an emergency or something. And 2 hours passed, 4 hours passed, 10 hours passed, 12 hours passed, 24 hours passed, 48 hours passed. Nothing happened. He was just as he was. And then in Hindi he said to Ramdas, Maza nahi aaya. You know, whatever you take, I don't find any happiness in this. He wanted to say what I have is more happier than what you can get. And that was the time Ramdas left LSD, and he talks about a lot of his love journey, and he says the essence that he got with sharing love and becoming love and being love, it is the greatest intoxicant ever. So how this saint became Neem Karoli Baba, because it's kind of like a very weird, big name. What happened was, he was, in the days of his sadhana, he was traveling in one train. Those were the times of the British time. He boarded on the first class. He sat on the first class, and one ticket checker came and asked for ticket to Baba. Of course, he didn't have a ticket, and the ticket checker was insulted Baba. He insulted Baba. He was an English person. He did not know how we have respect for saints in India, and he said, "Get out of my train." And so Baba came out and he sat on the station. That station was Neem Karoli. Right? Sat on the station. And after that, the train won't move. The train just won't move. So people were talking, and many people came to this ticket checker and said, he's a great Baba, he does many miracles. You have insulted him, please take him back into the train, otherwise the train won't move. So he didn't care. He said, I don't believe all these things. I'll get my engineers and technicians, they will fix the train. So the engineers, the technician came, everybody looked at the engine, everything was fine, nothing was wrong with the train. And then many hours went away, everybody got fed up, the train won't move. Finally, the ticket checker went and apologized to Baba and said, please board the train, Baba, and let us move. Baba said, no, I won't go. You have to promise me something. He said, what promise do you want? He said, Neem Karoli doesn't have a station. You have to promise me you have to build a station here. Only if you build a station, I will board the train. Okay. They promised that they will build a station, and the moment Baba entered the train went without any problem, right? So this news had spread in such a manner that he became Neem Karoli Baba, which later people pronounced as Neem Karoli Baba. These saints, they have this mystical way to knock a person's head so that the person comes out of the head. He has very subtle ways to teach people. Not the regular way. He was very mystical, very subtle his teachings were. He used to talk in different language. And it says he has mastered all these 5 elements and he had command over them. So Neem Karoli Baba stayed in Neem Karoli village for a long time, and it says there are a lot of miracles he has done there. The villagers loved him, they made a cave for him, they respected him. One day what happened, there was a fire in the village. There was a lot of fire in the village, especially in a shop, the fire. So the shopkeeper came running to Baba and said, please help me, my shop is on fire and I'm not able to extinguish the fire off. Baba looked at him and said, see, I told you to make a Hanuman Mandir, right? But you promised and you never did that. So tell Hanuman that I will build a mandir, I'll build a temple for you. I think you'll be fine. So this man goes and he prays to Hanuman, and in a moment another person from the shop comes and says, the fire is extinguished, no much damage has been done, everything is okay. Right? So he used to do these kind of things to villagers, like telling one person, okay, now the temple is built, now another person who is a rich person in the village, you build a well near the temple because there is no well, right? And you will get a son because you don't have son, you'll get a son. And that used to happen, right? Nowadays, possibly we don't believe these things, but we had these cultures very common, I think, in our Indian culture earlier. So he spoke very specifically to people. What a person needs, what the person will understand. He spoke to specific person with specific needs, with specific words. That's how he used to touch the heart of people. Some people, many people, they used to come and meet Baba. Some people he won't even look at. He will hide his face in his blanket. He won't look at. He just ignored many people. They just went away. They could not have Baba's darshan. They could not understand what Baba is. And many people, when they would come to Baba, he would have such loving, he'll talk to them about not big things, daily life, how much you are earning, what is your son doing, how do you live your, like very simple talks. And in his talks, he would touch them somewhere. So once there was a person came to visit Baba, they were like some officers, and one of the person bought like 8 oranges for Baba, because that's a tradition in India. When we go to visit a temple or a saint, we want to offer something. So he, from his bag, he took out his packet of 8 oranges, and there was some basket near Baba, so he put 8 oranges there. And then he was talking normally to Baba, about daily things and all. So after the conversation was over, there were many other people who came to meet Baba. So they were around 8 to 10 people who came to meet Baba. Along with that, many people started coming that moment to have darshan. And generally after darshan, as a gift of love, he will give prasad. So as prasad, he started giving those oranges. But it said there were more than 8 people there, right? Maybe 100 people. And later, this person said, I never knew from that basket how this 8 oranges become 108 oranges. Because he distributed oranges to everybody as prasad. So his disciples, talk about these experiences. Like another experience in Kumbh Mela. Baba had, gone there and set up his place, and his bhaktas are there. And one of the bhaktas says, oh, it's so cold here, Kumbh Mela. If there is hot tea, it would have been very nice. Now, Baba said, let's make hot tea, let's make tea for everyone. And the person who cooks, he said, we have everything. We have chai patti, we have sugar, but we don't have milk right now. At this point of time, we won't get milk anywhere. So he said, go with one bucket to Ganga Maiya and fetch one bucket of water from there, and you take it and tell the Ganga mother that we will give her back the milk tomorrow. So one person goes with a with a bucket and take water from the Ganga, and He came with the bucket, and then he's looking at Baba. Baba said, put one lid on that bucket. He put a lid. He said, what are you looking at my face? Make tea. He'll make tea. And then he opened the lid. There was one bucket of milk. So they made tea. And next day, one bucket milk was bought and given to Ganga mother. So friends, this is just not like how we understand like chamatkar or a person trying to prove himself, because he didn't have any attachment. He never took money from anybody. He never took anything from anybody. And his close disciple talks about it. They tried to give Baba, because when we get so much, we try to give back. He did not want anything. He had no attachments. Just, he would have one blanket on him. That is all. In Delhi, there is a place called Karoli, and there is an ashram of Baba there. And in every Navaratra, this ashram feeds people. Like thousands of people will come and eat in that ashram. And till today, there is a record. This person who is maintaining the ashram, even today, if you go there, he'll tell you, he don't take one single money from anybody. That ashram is strictly prohibited. No money, anybody can't give money here. You can come, sit, meditate. And you will see people with big, like cooking vessels. They are cooking. Nobody knows where this food comes from. And they feed thousands of people during Navratra. And this person who maintains this temple, he will say, it is all Baba's blessing. He's still there. And he makes arrangement for all these things. So even in this yuga, we have a chance to witness these miracles if we are ready to find, if we are open to find. That's what I believe. It first comes from belief. It comes from faith. If I believe in miracle will happen to me. If I ask for miracle will happen. There was because nobody knew where these foreigners started coming to meet Babaji, his temple. Like I mentioned these names, they started coming, and with them more foreigners started visiting Baba's ashram, which is near Nainital. There is two ashrams. There is one in Vrindavan, and where he left his body, another is in Nainital, near Nainital, called Kanchi. So, another story is one of the foreigner, he comes to Kanchi ashram because his wife is a disciple of Baba there. So he comes to visit his wife, comes to visit Baba, because he has heard a lot. And when he sees Baba, he felt very bad, because he's seeing some man lying down in the bed. Some people are catching his feet and rubbing his feet. Some people, some foreigners are bowing down, white saris, like he did not like this, because he's a Westerner. He doesn't like touching anybody's feet, and that he did not like it. So he was very depressed seeing that, where my wife has come. He was very depressed. And then he started trying to at least observe what is happening there. He was not finding any sense there. So one day went, second day went, third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day, and then the seventh day he said it's like too much and I'm very depressed. So he walked down to Nainital. Nainital has a lake there, and he was walking across the lake. And the first time in his life, he had never prayed in his life. First time in his life, he was praying to God. He was saying, what is happening to my life? Where is my wife? With whom my wife is? And she calls this person as her own guru, like a guide. And I don't see any sense in him. Right? please help me, please help me. I know, that it requires belief to see miracles. I don't have any belief. Please give me miracle. I want to see a miracle today. And he prayed, and then he started looking for any rainbow, any sign where he can see miracles. There was no rainbow, there was no sign. Anyway, he was very depressed. He came back to the ashram, he packed his bag. And then he thought because he was feeling my marriage is at stake. Because wife was following something he completely disagreed, he did not like. So before he was leaving the ashram, he said, I'm going to visit Baba. I will give him one visit, and I'll be truthful to him. I will just tell him what I felt about him on his face, and I will leave. So with that attitude, he went. And he was sitting, he had a small bed he used to sit. Baba didn't still come into the room. So he was sitting, waiting for Baba. And he could see one, from the basket, one apple has fallen down. So he tried to take the apple and take it back to the basket. The moment he tried that, Baba came and pressed his hands with his feet. So the person who never wanted to touch Baba's feet was now touching Baba's feet. And he was stepping on his hands, and he was pinned down onto the earth. And then, very closely, Baba went to his face and he said, where were you yesterday? And he looked he did not answer. And then again Baba said, were you at the lake? Now the lake word he is using in English, because he never used to talk in English, he doesn't know English. But the word lake, he said, were you at the lake? So he said, he nodded, yes. And the moment he said the word lake, something started happening at the base of his spine, Something started shivering. How this man knows I was at the lake yesterday? Right? And then he said, what are you doing at the lake? Were you swimming? I said, no. Okay. Were you walking around the lake? No. Did you go to visit the lake? Or were you praying? Did you ask something? Did you pray for something? At that moment, he started crying. This person started crying. And it says he cried and cried and cried. And this person writes at the end, I couldn't but just love his feet. He always after that, he always wanted to just touch his feet. That is what he was yearning for. There are these, only he left stories for us. There's no way to meet him. But if we want, as I have shared you my experience, these are astral masters. They are there to help us. And if we are really asking for a miracle from our heart, it happens. I'm telling you from my own experience. I have witnessed many miracles in my life and in others' lives also. So here, this place in Life Foundation, we practice the middle path, right? We are not following Gyan Marg, we are not following Bhakti Marg, but we try to learn from all masters. Dr. Newton always talks about learning from every master. There is something every master has to offer us. Whomever we resonate with, if we can take the wisdom and we start applying it in our life, we'll start seeing a change. What I generally do is, if I resonate with one master or maybe one teaching, I would think of that teaching or that master before I go to meditation. right? And then I'll start my meditation. In the meditation, I'm not thinking anything, right? I'm just doing Anapanasati. I'm with my breath. Many times, I have found strong messages that can come from that master if he can do that. I listed few of his stories to share with you. Today is more of a story session that we are learning from. So I also shared one. There are many actually. We go to his website. It's interesting to read them sometimes because reading them, it affirms that miracles do happen. We need to also convince our logical mind that miracles do happen. And how do we do that? Is to know about these people who have had miracles in their life, to read about them. It's one of, so as I said, it is very specific how he used to deal with people. And he was teaching, just not miracles. He was teaching them through these miracles because we are too much in our logical mind. So he had a way to knock the logical mind and take you into a deeper place through those miracles. So one of the story goes like, it was midnight, right? And Baba woke up and there were two women disciples who were there with Baba, and he said to those disciples, I am hungry, make me moong dal and roti, I want to have right now. So these female disciples said, Baba, I think you forgot, you had good dinner and you are sleeping, it's 2 in the night. Please sleep, we will have breakfast tomorrow. Baba said, no, if you don't make, I will go and I'll wake up someone who can make moong dal and roti for me. Right now I need it. So now these women disciples got that, I can't say no to Baba. They went in the kitchen, they made moong dal, they made roti. Not only Baba had, also they had again food with Baba. And then they slept. In the morning, woke up, and then he said, yesterday around 2 o'clock, one of his disciples passed away. He was a great disciple, but before he passed away, he was thinking of moong dal and roti. He said, this person wouldn't have attained enlightenment if I had not taken his desire. Otherwise, he would have born with the same desire again to eat moong dal and roti. Right? So Babaji did it for himself to take moong dal and roti and for his disciple. Yes, another very interesting story is about a barber shop. Baba went to trim his beard, and this person who was trimming the beard has known about Babaji. And while trimming the beard, he was telling Babaji, Babaji, my son has run away many years back from my house. He did not return home. Please do something, Babaji. And that time, Babaji's beard was half cut, half cut. And suddenly Babaji said, wait, I have to go. And he said, where are you going? Your beard is half cut, where are you going? He said, wait, I have to go. And he rushed. And it said, there is an interesting thing about Neem Karoli Baba is, he would just come into somewhere any moment and he'll leave the place any moment. Nobody can catch him. Nobody knows where he goes. He'll just disappear in the crowd. And he'll appear suddenly. Very informally. That was his ways. So he just rushed and vanished in the crowd. And after some time he came back. And then he went on with his beard chopping and he went off. Next day, the barber's house, the son returned. The father was shocked to see the son. The son said, I don't know what happened. From nowhere, I used to walk. I was working many miles from our house in a restaurant. One person with half beard appeared and he gave me 50 rupees and he said, you have to return home. You have to go home. And then he disappeared. I didn't know what to do. I had to take that 50 rupees and I bought a ticket and I came home. So these are the kind of miracles, very mystical ways Baba have come to many people. Very small and interesting stories. With his driver, once his driver said, I don't have oil in my tank, shall I go and fill the oil? Babaji said, no need, I am not going anywhere. And in the night, he suddenly wakes up and he calls his driver, I have to go somewhere, take the car, I have to go. Then he said, Babaji, yesterday I told you I don't have petrol. I asked if I go and fill the petrol. You said no. He said, don't bother, you just get the car, we will go. And as there was no petrol, within 10-15 kilometers, the car went and stopped in a jungle. Now this driver is putting his hand in his head. Oh, where I am with this Baba, he doesn't listen to me. He said, see Baba, what happened? There's no petrol now, we are stuck in between the jungle, what to do? He said, you do one thing, find one waterfall nearby and put some water in the petrol tank. He got so angry, he said, if you say that to me once more, I'll leave your job tomorrow. You know what will happen if I put water in the petrol tank? He said, don't worry, don't put a lot of water, just put 3 bottles of water, that's enough. So this guy went, brought some water somewhere, and he put water in the tank. Until date he said, I don't know, I was driving the entire night, I don't know how I drove my car, the car drove, he went wherever he wanted to and he came back. So I couldn't get much of his teachings, but I liked few of them, so I have drafted few of his sayings. One that says, this world is all attachment, yet you get worried because you are attached. Next quotation says, as the best form to see God in is in every form. Clear the mind of all worldly things. If you can't control your mind, how will you realize God? So this is few of his sayings. And I liked something when I was scrolling on his website and I listed it. And it's called the Grand Unification. I will read to you what this Grand Unification is talking about. I'll just read as it is so that you get to know it better. It says, this Grand Unification happens to rare few. It is when you meet a master who apparently does not alter anything physically, but a chemistry develops with him and all your duality disappears. From there on, you have a lighthouse to guide you through the jerks, jolts, bumps and grinds of life. These oddies do not break you. Instead, you get seasoned, toughened, and yet remain tender and caring without collecting bitterness in the life's journey. Duality is seeing two alternatives to all action. When His grace descends, you have no hesitation in choosing your option. Such masters give you the anchoring you call faith. The moment He takes command of your life, you stop seeing two. Paradox is synchronized and you are hooked for the good, for He is your constant companion, consciously and unconsciously. The physical presence of the Master from then is immaterial. He has given you the entry into the time and distance wrap, and you stay connected to Him whether awake or in sleep, whatever be your state of consciousness.
హలో ఫ్రెండ్స్, పిఎంసి ఆన్లైన్ని సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేసుకోండి. సరికొత్త అప్డేట్స్ కోసం బెల్ బటన్ని నొక్కండి.